Voices out there who want to teach you to be subservient to them. They want to offer you their God and tell you to serve it. Give you their philosophy and ask you to adhere to it. And I am not one of those. I am not one of them. I am one who speaks with you for you to arise you in leadership. The leadership of you. To lead you out of being under the authority of all else and other. I exist for you to arise in your own authority. Your own authority to heal. Your authority to love. Your authority to create. And to recreate you with it. Love, being the one of love. Source energy. Before God was constructed as a method to control people. Hear me well. God is a method to control people. God is a construct. God is an idea, a belief. A fiction. A fable. But if you believe it, you then put your power behind it, and you put your power into it to create it, that belief. And you create that belief because in your garden of belief, you're the king. You control what's in your mind and how it fashions you and how it forms you and what you are limited to, what you're limited by, what you create, and why you die or why you live. There are many gods who will teach you subservience. There are many gods who will keep you on their string with a carrot and stick, beating their life into you their way by their rules, their religion, their constructs, their theories, their books, and their laws. And I am not one of them. I have come that you might have life. Come where? On YouTube? Come where? Come to my senses? Come to be a teacher? I am simply here as an old man, some would say. I'm here intervening, or am I revealing? Will you allow me to be the revealer of you, to see you can channel God too. The God that was God before God was God invented as a deity, a separate holy something or other, an all-powerful, omnipotent, omniscient force. Before all of that was enunciated and formed, in your consciousness, you, my friend, you were what created all creation. You were the one. You created all creation. Your consciousness creates what you think, or do you think with your consciousness? Or do words birth you? Do words create you and your consciousness and your limitations and or give you freedom to bring you out from others' authority so that you're no more wishing and hoping for a better time to come, a better theory, a better God, a better place, taking another pill, wanting to numb your mind, placate your memory, assuage your fears? Let's face it, we haven't had the answer. And all the answers of all religions just keep us motoring about, moping about, providing fodder for their empires, cosmological empires. So I've started a school. And what I've experienced, I teach. I teach what I know. I know what I teach. I've experienced what I teach. I'm not just talking about a book that I've read and become a master speaker about. I'm talking about you learning to channel your original source energy. To learn who you are and what your capacity is to recreate you. In flesh, recreating you. First, with your consciousness, the conscious mind. The mind that limits not God to be it. One consciousness with, the consciousness of the Creator, creating all creation again. And this is the flow of original energy, who won't limit it now, to recreate heaven here without God or without Satan. Or if you don't have a Satan, do you no more need a God? Will you love each other? Will you love love? Will you heal the blind? I've written and I've started. I've begun the School of Me on the web at theschoolofme.com, and I invite you to it. But again, in these last two teaching sessions especially, I've tried to focus on the goal. I've tried to focus on being concise, at honing in and communicating articulately the message of transformation, the message of regeneration, the message of rebirth, the message of creation, so that you no longer limit yourself to the cycle of man's thinking, the cycle of birth and death. I'm asking you to come out of that, eject. I'm asking you to come into the cycle of creation and create the Creator. Creating creation again, beginning with you first. It's your capacity, it's your lineage, it's your birthright, it's your ability, and your mind has the power. But if you want to limit it according to other people's theories, books, and religions, living your life according to educational standards of some accreditation committees, trying to fill your pockets with blood, not but money, or blood money, or what are you choosing? Are you giving up life for money? Why would you let them pay you to give up your life? For 30 pieces of silver? And then you're going to go crawl in a grave? My friend, what we've called God is not original source energy of love, light, and peace. There are many intermediaries, many iterations of God, many iterations of creation. Because the offspring of God, what we called God, original God, created creators, not unlike what God was. But over time, love abased itself. Love degraded. And love wanted control. Love wanted to think its own thought and have its own free will. So it created it. And you're the creation of that. So am I. But I'm not. Stagnant in what men told me to believe. And I'm asking you to be not either. I'm asking you to flow the living word, the word that rebirths your consciousness into a creation that increases your capacity day by day to learn who you are, what you are, where you came from, and what you have the ability to do to heal this nation, to heal this world, and operate among the cosmos without fear. And I suggest to you, with all that I can teach you, creation is up to you. Whether you choose to recreate you is your choice. You can choose to live in obedience to people's demands and commands, cultural values, political correctness. You can choose to want the affection of others, the attention of men, the attention of women. You can controlled be by your five-sense mind, for you are controlled by your five-sense mind and the programming coded into your DNA, as well as what you've experienced in life. All of those things shape us, but what shape are we in? Are we willing to change our shape, our form, our living, our life, our love? If you're not, don't come here. For the law of love destroys it not. Love engenders love. I'm talking about light, love, and peace that engenders, nurtures lovingly. Light, love, and peace. So I increasingly reach for words to distinguish God from God, to distinguish energy from energy, to distinguish light, love, and peace that is so humble that unconditionally accepts you into its mind to communicate with its mind so that you no longer create a force field around you, in you, that torments you with it. The magnetics of this world will no more shield us from our power. The robots are waking up. The created race of mankind, womankind, the race of angels. So we are coming to our senses, and I suggest to you that you have been programmed to learn a certain way. So many of us think in pictures, or we think in rows and columns. We think of tangible means, or we have some kind of learning preference or some kind of information that affects us in ways more positive than others. And I'm asking you, I'm suggesting to you, I suggest to you because I choose to let you choose. So I'm not dictating to you the answer. You've got to grow into it. If you become who you really are, you'll grow out of that flesh before you die. And you will become a new creation. You will create the rebirth of you that is not some soliloquy of other. No more romancing the novels that woo you into flesh to keep you here till you die. This is not easy. Because you begin to learn what you thought was reality isn't true reality. And what you thought was God was not the love you thought it was. The God that wants you to serve it is not the God I'm speaking of, not the God I teach about, not the God that I ask you to learn to channel. Learning to distinguish God from God, who God is, what their motives are, what the words are, what the words want you to do. We're becoming a race of light who no more separate from it. We are entering the mind of one. The mind of God, the original, source energy, truth, perfect love, peace. And that recreates creators to create creation again. And we're at this point. This is the new beginning. And I suggest to you the educational system of one, the educational system of God before God was teaching God to worship God. I know. When I use the word channeling, I'm speaking about you learning to open yourself to a stream of energy that begins to open up your vision, the vision of your mind, the mind of your vision that limits it not to flesh, eyes, and ears. Learning to channel God, God before God was God. Learning to channel original source energy, okay? That eternal truth that doesn't warp your mind and bend light rays to its purpose. The original mind of one was a race of light people and is a race of light people. But darkness poses as light, my friend. Devil poses as God. That which decreases your memory, your mind, your capacity, your ability. That which diminishes it, incarcerates it in flesh, and tells you to worship it, and then surrender your own body to death, is not love. That's control. Hideous, insidious, created with scienter, created with the motive to control. But you don't have to live with that. But I suggest to you, even if you have the ability to learn everything I know, whether you create you with it is determined by you. My information will not heal you. My information points to the truth. The kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven is within you. And you learn to channel it. You learn to channel that source of eternal, everlasting truth that covenanted with you before grace was ever needed, before sin was born, before separation contradicted itself, convoluted, corrupted, taught there was evil. There was no evil till you created it. You don't have an enemy unless you think you do. You see, the power of the mind is limitless. We're no longer constricted by the soul, or soul theory, or trying to redeem the soul, or trying to say someone else is our Redeemer, soon coming King, Messiah that will heal us in our land. That's not the message of Jesus. I suggest to you, if you really, really want to know, that which existed before time, space, and gravity will teach you directly. It's not a voice that you hear audibly. It's not a voice in the stream of words. It's a stream of love. Waveless. It's an energy. It's a something. A force. A truth. That you then choose how you interpret. Because you shut it down every day of your life. You control God every day of your life. You look in the mirror and you say it's you. You speak words and you say they're yours. You speak words that you think are powerless and you render them powerless by devouring your own capacity to create. You are the mind of God. God before God needed a devil as an adversary, or the adversary needed a God. See, we're going back to become timeless. We're going forward to see. We're not different. Sorry, try not to sneeze. We think the past was back there and the future is ahead of us. My friend, All of that is coming into view. And time is no longer constricting us like we have constructed it. Neither is gravity. We are beings of light, setting free, being set free. We set free each other. We set free each other to set each other free, one by one, in their mirror, in your mirror. No longer worshiping a God. The very act of worshiping God that we've done so willingly, and I did so much of my life, until what my heart truly longed for taught me I wasn't separate, and to quit worshiping it. That it was never the desire of eternal love to be worshiped. It was simply to expand the family of God, the family of love, light, love, and peace. Can you imagine the entire cosmos being your playground? Where do you want to go this day? What planet? What solar system? What galaxy? Are you limited to just one? We have so many visuals of a greater reality. Of course, many laugh at them, call it science fiction. And that story in the Bible where some people come to Jesus and say, "Where do you live?" He said, "Come, I will show you," according to the story. I suggest to you, he showed them. He showed them another reality. A reality that is not limited to molecular flesh, molecular earth, molecular steel. The kingdom is within you. The kingdom that is not molecular. The kingdom is within you. The kingdom that is not made with hands. And that's the reality of the real. And this is what we're coming into. And it's one thing for you to hear it, but are you going to create it? Are you going to transform yourself by the power of true love? Are you willing to intend to receive the word, to conceive it in you, like Mary? But be it unto me not according to some other dictates of man or some other's choosing, because I choose me, and I choose you. But the ultimate answer for you is what you decide for you. You can't decide my outcome, and I can't decide yours. I don't choose to. For if you operate in my power and you don't choose love to become love, you're not only a tyrant, you're a control freak, a devil, a destroyer of people's lives, of the angelic witness of one. The God mind, the mind of perfect, pristine, pure love. Beings of light. And this is what we're coming back into. So the transformation power is in you. The transformation power is your power. You have the power to transform you, but do you have the information? You can read a whole bunch of books and you can read everything I've written. But this is the crux of my message to you this day. Learn to channel it. Learning to channel this. Learning to receive what I used to call the first person words of God through you. for you to literally write it creates the Word. The Word coming through you creates a genetic system not limited by the neurons programmed by others. It's a genetic creation process, the channeling of God, where you no longer adhere to the framework of haves and have-nots. You no longer give any credibility to things called like the fivefold ministry. And the people who are anointed to hear God, the people who are Moses, oh, you want Moses to go up to the mountain and get the right words and write an e-book, write a mini book, something like fast food, for you just to have the principles and then operate in your free will to do what you want? Truth divides, and truth replicates peace. Truth replicates leadership. If you're willing to learn to channel truth, to channel original source energy, I have a school. But it's costly because it takes time, effort, and energy. It takes reprogramming you genetically because you're literally changing the genetics, the genes of your DNA to come out of flesh. This is what the new birth is. This is what the new birth is about. Jesus became the firstborn. You can call him Christ, but he wasn't the only one. But he sure wasn't Christian. So my name is Theodore. At the heart of the educational system, of the operation of the new covenant, you write your covenant. You construct the living word. You learn to emit and love that living word. You learn to value the time. You learn to woo the voice, woo the presence of that original source energy. You begin to be willing to do things you never thought, like I did, like set my alarm for 2 a.m. every morning for years to get up. Sometimes I would write. Most of the time I would record in a little recorder at that time. And I would simply surrender. You see, I had no agenda. I didn't edit. I turned on my recorder and spoke. And then transcribe it the next day. In fact, one time, I had a woman approach me in Tulsa. She said, "I'll transcribe for you for 1 year." I said, "Thank you." And she did. At the end of that year, she called me up and she said, "The year's up. Come get the little transcribing machine." I said, "Okay." And I thanked her. time after time, I have wept at what I have learned through my own voice, that I didn't even realize what came through my voice until after it was transcribed, till after I read it, till after I typed it up and printed it and read it. This is at the heart of the education system. This is at the school of me. This is why I exist. This is what I'm talking about. This is the message. And if you're not willing to flow the first person words of God through you, of perfect love that defies all other authority over you, don't come here. This is what I am about. This is what this school is about. This is about the capacity of you to arise in the creatorship of you, in your own capacity of love, to love, and recreate it in you and be the creation of you that loves each other and heals the earth and restores heaven here. Is that clear? This is not a school of norms or normalcy. This is a school for love to recreate it. This is a school for you to learn to separate Christianity from Christ. Christ, the word, it's a label. It's a word. It's a noun, a proper noun. This is a school for you to be the real you. Mary, do you hear me? Mary, will you receive the seed? Mary, will you wake up? Mary, will you birth the Savior? The one inside you, the one in your mirror, the real you. Are you willing to channel? Are you willing to receive the word, the living word that comes through your lips, and learn how to do it? This is at the center of the school. It is inextricable to the process of education. It is inextricable to the process of rebirth and becoming a new creation. And I'm getting more and more articulate about the process and focusing. And it's important for you to realize this. Every authority between you and God, between you and original source energy, is an idol. That which we have worshipped has kept us from experiencing what we wanted to love. You have the authority. You have the power of life and death in your tongue. You have the power to forgive. You have the power to heal. Jesus said, if you believe in me, you'll do the things I do and greater. It's time we do them. This is the time of a new beginning. All of flesh, all of humanity will be divided now. It is the time of the judgment. The judgment is now. And if you don't know who the judge is, or you haven't met the judge who is going to judge all humanity, I will introduce you to the judge of you. The judge of you is in your mirror. There's no God that is going to determine whether you go to heaven or hell outside of you. The kingdom of heaven is within you. And all the force of everybody else's intention to control you will not harm you. Believe me, it's like walking through all the flames of hell to become who you really are. Because everybody has a voice, everyone has an opinion, and everybody wants to tell you what to do and how to do it and where to be when. They want you to be under their influence. So this is not a normal message. So the last two messages in the title, I included the goal. The goal is transformation, to no longer be limited to flesh. It's to be the living Word, not limited to the molecular. And I suggest this is recreating the consciousness, simply waking up, becoming enlightened, becoming conscious, becoming fools no more for a theory. Let this mind be in you, which was in Christ Jesus, who thought it not robbery to be equal with God. And in this process, if you're willing to learn, you will begin to learn. God is not God. Or is God God? Or which God is God? But you see, there's a maturity called for. And as you begin to grow up, there are many gods, many theories of God. And you will create and live the one you serve or the one you rebirth. And channeling is crucial to this process. Learning to come as a child. Learning to come as a child and say, here I am. Taking off all your robes of authority. Laying down all your degrees. And simply coming as a little child. Saying, here I am. Will you teach me? Looking inside. Letting the light flow. Letting the light teach you. Letting the light love you. And when that light begins to spout demands, commands, and condemnation, you know it's not the God I'm talking about. It's not the kingdom I'm talking about. It's not the kingdom of light, love, and peace of original source energy. It's that which converted, diverted, corrupted, and created control. You got to know the difference. You got to come out of hell. To come out of hell, you create the way. You become the way, the truth, and the life. You become what that force of love is. To realize there's no force that can incarcerate you anymore. And you will learn to walk through those flames without the smell of smoke. You will learn to walk through that criticism and condemnation without it hurting your feelings, corrupting your psyche, thinking your psyche has control over you. This is a new day, folks. And you can see a lot of people won't like this message because they're complacent. They're stuck. They're stagnant. They want to believe they're right. They don't want to lose the investment that they've spent years investing in a theory, investing in the church of their choice, the denomination, the religion. Don't you see how the last will be first and the first will be last? Don't you see? When you come into the kingdom, you're not separate. Come humbly before the throne of you and judge you, Christ. Judge you worthy and judge everybody else worthy. But the ultimate judge of every person is the one in their mirror. Learn to channel God. Learn to channel. Learn to learn from your channeling which God you serve and which God you become. The mind of one is healed and healing itself. The mind of God is genderless. The mind of God is nurturing and reproductive. So I've spoken often about the feminine nature of God, the tenderness, the nurturing of a loving mother. And the brutality of men, the brutality of this world, the brutality of control goes bye-bye. And we are at a point of now where we all choose. And I love you all. Thank you for listening to this message. Thank you for concerning yourself with affairs of the cosmos. Thank you for realizing you are not limited to minimum wage. You're not limited to the outflows of other people's mouth and other people's speakings over you will no more design you, no more limit you, no more curtail your capacity to create. Wear the confusion no more. Wear the crown of light, love, and peace. Learn to discern. I've begun to go into deeper things, more focused. It's time to grow up. It's time to create your covenant with you. And understand, yes, the Bible is no longer in the place that I held it for decades, but it still has great value. And as Jesus said, anyone instructed in the kingdom brings forth from the old and the new. So in communicating, I use stories and reinterpret them. I use metaphors. I reach for that which you know to help you create that which you have the capacity to begin to see, feel, understand, and expand into. Creating the new birth of you is your privilege. And now no one will take it from us who love the light, who will flow the light and become the light of the living words. I love you all. My name is Theodore Cottingham in Eureka Springs, a simple man. And I share with you these words. I invite you to my website, theschoolofme.com. How simple is that? The School of Me. I invite you to open up your school, to see a learning system where you learn to channel, and what you channel, you learn from to recreate you. I love you all. The gift of life you hold in your hand. Defeat it not by the words of other that you manifest in you. Be the creator you really are. I love you. theschoolofme.com. If you want to read, if you want to research, if you want to study, if you want to evaluate, if you want to challenge what I'm talking about, flowing the first person words of God through you, the first 2,400 messages, lessons in this school are online, and you can search them. You can word search them for words and phrases that are meaningful to you, that you're curious about. And I invite you to cultivate your curiosity. Go search them. Test them. Check them out. Realize they are a progression over time. And I'm suggesting that true love, when you encounter true love, begins to nurture you where you are. When you come as a little child, you're not suddenly in an advanced degree program, but you begin, and love begins with you to teach you about love, the mind of love, the character of love, the values of love, keeping your word, being punctual, values of life that live love. And this progression over time, you will see. You see, if you go to my words in database 1, my covenant, and you read the first 100 lessons, and that's all, you completely miss it. You completely miss. I suggest to you, let love light your way through my words so that you cultivate creating your own learning system through them, through searching, because the volume of information in those 2,400 documents is magnanimous and will teach you more about you, your capacity to create and to learn and to walk in healing love. So I invite you. So I have 2 websites, theschoolofme.com and where my covenant, those 2,400 lessons, uoflight.org. And that link, that hyperlink, is linked many times, the hyperlink between theschoolofme.com and uoflight.org. Okay, I love you. I honor you. Subscribe if you haven't. I invite you to subscribe. I invite you to create your school of you. I go now. Thank you again for sharing your life with these words. And create your word of life. And be under no one else's authority ever again. Good day. I love you. See ya.